All right, Shalom. We'll start first by giving all praises and glories unto Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahshua, Ba'ashim Harakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well, and greetings, salutations, and blessings unto the hopeful elect. Shalom unto you. This shutdown is starting to affect people, man, and I don't think you jakes out there, which are you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, truly understand the effects that are about to take place. Here at Great Millstone and those with the like doctrine, you know, certain Israelite groups out there have been telling you that these perils are coming. Come about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks from now, I think it's 2 weeks today, the government is going to shut down and cut off your EBT. I mean, they're shut down in so many other ways already, but they're going to shut down your EBT, your SNAP benefits, okay? And I don't think you understand the dynamic that's going to happen, okay? Matter of fact, let me pause this and go into another one. But this was just a funny thing brothers was putting out. Hold on a moment. Let me get up something else. All right. Now, when you go into this fellow right here, you know, he's talking about food steps and gardening, right? I don't think you people understand the dynamic that's going to happen to people. When you watch his video, it's Bo the Fifth Column, I believe is the name of his page. But when you are forced to do something, it's different, you know. All the comforts of your world come into play, and you're like, I'm just not going to do it. No big deal. But when they cut off your food, taking your money is one thing, as long as you're still eating. When they cut your food off, it becomes something more. It becomes something else. Okay? It changes things. Like the scriptures say, better are they that are cut off by the sword, or killed by the sword, than by the famine. Because if you die of a famine, if you starve to death, basically what a famine is, if you starve to death, guess what? Your body begins to deteriorate and eat itself from the inside. And during that process, your mind will go in all a million different ways. You want to talk about Bird Box and seeing apparitions and things like that? That happens to people that abruptly stop eating. That happens to you people when you get off your drugs, your opioids. That happens to you people when you stop smoking weed. That happens to you people when you stop eating sugar, caffeine. So when they cut food off altogether, it's going to be an even bigger thing. You know? And this was the warning we were given from the from the prophet Isaiah. I believe it was Isaiah or Jeremiah. It says, it's Isaiah. Woe unto them that go down to Egypt for help. You know? When you go down to this government and you want the government to help you by getting your subsidies. Now we're jakes, you know, we're Israelites, we're the poor, we're the you know, we're the lowly, we're in captivity, so we need help to live a minimum base life, you know, just to have food on the table and barely to have a roof over our head and still live check to check. The part that you guys don't understand is this, though. They don't have a problem cutting it off because they don't care about us. Okay? And I'm talking, Donald Trump already gave the warning. The ones that are going to get hit hardest by this is the brown and blacks and browns. The so-called African American or the Negroes and the Hispanics. That's what he said. That's directly what he said. Okay? Why? Because he knows once he gets you, you're going to be the mob that he needs to create the unrest. Because here's what he's done. In this video here, this guy highlights what happens. He said he went to into a grocery store or whatever, and a lady in front of him had food stamps. Right now, he said he gave the real, matter of fact, I had to play some of it. Cut this off so I can play some of that. And what he said was, it's not what you're really thinking. 10% of the 400 million Americans are on food stamps. It's a large number. And he said the average amount per household is $250 a month. $250 don't sound bad until you realize it's stretched out over a family for a month. So what does that force the people to do? Force the people to buy cheap food, which means processed food. He said frozen pizzas and frozen burritos and cereal and BS like that. You know, his thing was about gardening, that you can buy seeds and plant vegetables in a garden with EBT. Anything that grows food works, right? Well, that's not what our people do, okay? Our people don't know how to grow food. Our people don't have the patience to grow food. We live in an instant gratification society, okay, where you believe that having popping stuff in the microwave, you don't have to wait on the radio to hear your favorite song. You go right to the internet to download it or watch it on YouTube or whatever you do. Okay, instantly you can get whatever you want out of this society. But when they take your food away, we're gonna see what happens. Pandemonium and chaos everywhere. Okay? Second Ezra, the 15th chapter says there shall be a sedition among men, and killing with the sword for lack of bread, for lack of food. And I'm gonna make a quick note here also. You people don't understand how addicted you are to meat and bread. Okay? And those are the two main items of food that will be cut off. In these South American countries, they're used to not eating meat. It's a luxury to eat meat. You know? It's a luxury. American citizens act like it's the standard of what a meal is all about. So you'll consume, the more meat you can consume, whether it be pork, beef, chicken, whatever, the more meat that you can consume, the better you're eating. Even though that's bad for your health and your digestive system, okay? You go to Jeremiah, the 1st chapter, and read about Daniel, the 1st chapter, and read about the experiment that prophet Daniel did. Okay? He ate pulse, which, when you break that down, is leafy greens. Okay? Which is some of the easiest stuff to grow. All right? But if you're not used to eating that type of lifestyle, when they cut off your meat and your bread, you people are going to lose it. You're going to have headaches. You're going to have withdrawals. You're wondering why you're on 3 or 4 different medications. It's because they're trying to help you to get rid of that meat or the symptoms of eating meat on such a heavy level to be able to bear it. It's not to solve it. It's to bear it so you can continue eating more and more meat and bad meat and abominable meats. Right? That shows you the mind of the people. But what happened when Prophet Daniel said that? He said, he did the experiment about eating leafy greens versus the king's meat, or pulse versus the king's meat, and what happened? The men that did that with him, they had a fairer complexion. They had more energy. They had clearer minds. While those that ate the king's meat were sluggish. Okay? So I'm going to play a couple minutes of this video just to show some of the statistics that he was talking about. Okay?
Garden section. I was looking to get some more green vines, and I happened to look on the side of the page, and it said that this product could be SAP food stamps. And I thought that was great. I mean, that's cool. And then I did a little bit of research, found out that that applies to fruit trees, berry bushes, seeds, anything that's going to grow food. It's fantastic. I took a photo of the sticker and I put it on Facebook. The comment section filled up with people talking about how to do it, or talking about that they probably couldn't do it because they live in a city or the climate or whatever. But it isn't a solution for everybody, but it's a solution for some, so I want to talk about it. But before we talk about that, we have to talk about food stamps, period, because it's a hot-button political issue, and therefore it's been ruined with talking points.
Well, you can hear this.
Misconceptions. So, here we go. Here are the facts. More than 10% of Americans are on food stamps. That is a substantial number. That's a lot of people. You're talking, I think it was 44 million. That is a lot of people. On average, the average household gets about $250 a month in benefits. That's not a whole lot for food for a month. About half are working families. It's not the stereotypical image you have in your head. If you don't, the odds are you know somebody on food stamps. Odds are one of your friends is on SNAP. So it's not what you think it is. Okay, so let's just go through the typical complaints real quick. You know, I was at the grocery store and the person in front of me had a full cart and they paid for it with an EBT card. You know, I don't even eat that well. Yeah, I'm sure their cart was full. Those benefits get paid out once a month. So what you're looking at is a month's worth of food. You go there every week, don't you? That's the difference. That's why. Well, it was all junk food. Probably. It was probably all cheap food. Frozen pizzas, stuff like that. Yeah. It's because it's cheap. It's because it's cheap. It stretches that out. They've got to last a month on it. It's also not very healthy, which is kind of why I think growing your own food is probably a benefit in a lot of ways. Well, they're just lazy bums. There are tens of thousands of active duty military on food stamps. The amount of work you're willing to do has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not you end up on food stamps. That argument dies right there. It has to do with income. Period. Full stop. Well, it's a sign of the breakup of the American family. All these single mothers on food stamps.
I want to bring that up, and the leading person that's single with children, single parent households, are you so-called Negro Latinos and Native Americans, with the so-called Negro woman leading the way with children out of wedlock. So she has children to bear, to feed, and no man to support the system or to run the system. You know, and you can say, oh, because, you know, men are this and men are that. You can say that, you know, but the truth is the dynamic is so large and huge that you couldn't even fathom a solution to it. Now we in the truth understand it's part of the curses. Go to Deuteronomy 28th chapter, and it'll tell you around the 55th verse that she will have how does it go? Bear with me 1 second. It says, matter of fact, let me grab it because I can't remember. But hold on 1 second. Okay, particularly the 56th verse, but this is all going to play into up in the chapter also. It says, the tender and delicate, this is Deuteronomy 28:56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not have ventured to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and towards her young one that cometh out from between her feet, her babies, right? It says, and toward her children, which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things, secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in thy gates. And what that's talking about is particularly 70 AD. But we understand that there's no new thing under the sun, and that which hath been shall be. You go into the book of Ecclesiastes, and you'll find that how history repeats itself, so to speak. Okay? Well, this is coming again. And we're seeing the early signs of this happening. All right? These are the early signs of of cannibalism coming back to the world, coming to the streets of America. It's already hit Jacob's Trouble, and this has already hit down in South America and Central America. If anybody caught that video where the prisoners were eating each other's ears and in different parts of their bodies so they would have something to eat. You know, that's how numb you become when you're starving to death. Forget it. I know if a dog or your kid pulled your ear or bit it on playing with you, ow, damn, that really hurt. Well, he was letting another grown man bite and eat his ear. Okay? On some Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, but it was to nourish their bodies to keep going. And if they didn't get out or find a way to get fed, guess what? They probably just kept going. Okay, a finger here. Okay, a toe over there. Okay, your shoulder blade over there. And to the point where they're like, I can't give up no more. Well, we got to fight to the death. Whoever wins gets to eat. Cannibalism is coming back in a real and major way to America. They shut the CBT thing down, you know, and it's funny because the video the brother posted, you know, that was about the TSA. At the end of it, he let a guy go through that had a live bomb on him. He said, hey. And to stop him, right? He goes, hey. He goes, what? Oh, a sandwich. He goes, oh, yeah, all right, man, you can go. And the other guy goes, hey, man, that's banh mi? You know, pork, we ain't supposed to be eating that. Hey, that's a sandwich? Hey, let me get some of that. Oh, man, go ahead, man, get down. Yeah, I haven't eaten since Tuesday. Because people will not be eating. You will not be eating. You're going to have to figure out what you're going to do for food. You go into that movie, The Road, food was an issue. The Book of Eli, food was an issue. Okay, the movie started out with him hunting a cat to eat. Okay? In that movie, which was wrong, that's unlawful. Okay, you're going even to the spoof movie of The End Is Near with Jonah Hill and all those guys and Franco with all those guys. And guess what? It's in that movie too. Water and food, it was a big problem. Okay, this is coming to you. Eventually, it's going to come to everybody. And then the government will present you with the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip technology, okay? They have to present that to you. But they're going to make it mandatory, okay? They're going to make it mandatory. Where you can't buy or sell, you know, at all without it. All right? This is what the prophets have been prophesying and warning you about, to get yourself prepared for that. You know, so I know people that know about this, and they're like, okay, well, I'm not eating meat anymore, and I'm gonna try to stay away from bread. I'm gonna go no carb diet. I'm gonna try to go to the no meat. I'm gonna go vegan or veggie. Another solution also is a pescatarian. What a pescatarian is when you eat fish, because even though the waters are polluted, you still have a chance to catch fish and eat that way. Okay? That's still a solution for food. All right? Think about the meat. These are warning signs, people. Think about the meat in itself. The FDA can't even approve the meat anymore. First off. Secondly, there's a big contamination that just went on. Thirdly, the federal workers that's supposed to half-ass screen the meat, they're not going to work. They're not getting paid, so they're checking out to do Uber and whatever else to find another job. Okay? So we've been warning you that these things are coming. All right? We've been telling you that this was going to happen. Come February 1st, and I even heard, like here in Nevada, they're going to give out the food stamps earlier in the month. The government in Nevada is going to give it out early so they can kind of subside what happens on the 1st. But as everybody knows, Trump said it. Hey, I'm prepared to go until I get the wall. As long as it takes till I get my wall. So you people are in for a long and bumpy ride, and we've been warning you for years. The apostles, start with the apostles on down, we've been warning you for decades. Okay? You've had warning. We've been on the streets. All right? We've been all over the internet. All right? It was in the Bible in itself anyway. And you people fail and don't realize the full scope of what's about to happen to you. You will be tested, tried, and destroyed if you're not an Israelite of the elect under Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All right, so I'm going to close out. I got to run in. Giving all praise and glory to the Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rokak Wadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone. And greetings, salutations, and blessings unto the hopeful elect. Shalom.